All right, so now every single day, each and every one of us sees tons of cars driving up and down our roads. Just by a quick show of hands of the audience, how many in, let's just say, the past week have seen 100% all-electric car driving on the road? All right, I count literally one. What about the past month? Let's bump it up a little more. Still barely any at all. Now, this is really surprising to me, and the reason for this is that according to research done by multiple highly reputable institutions such as the U.S. Department of Energy and the Royal Academy of Engineering, there's been conclusive evidence found to support the claims of the positive benefits that all electric cars have for our world, both in terms of the environment and in terms of overall energy efficiency. So the question is, if these claims are true, which clearly they are, why aren't we seeing more electric cars on our roads? Well, the reason for this lies in three main concerns that consumers have. In a survey done by the Donlin Corporation, who's in charge of managing a large fleet of commercial vehicles, they asked people, what's holding you back from purchasing an electric car? What's scaring you away? And the top responses they got were concerns over the cost of the car, the performance of the car, and the main concern was the range of the car. Now currently, these concerns are holding electric cars back from really gaining a large enough market share to have an impact. But I'm here today to talk about how one company in particular, Tesla Motors, is pioneering the way to gaining a larger audience for electric vehicles. First today, we're going to talk about what they're doing to keep the cost down as much as they can. Next, we're going to move on to the performance of the car and how they're making sure it's up to par and even often exceeds that of in comparison to your traditional internal combustion engine vehicle. And then lastly, we'll cover the range of the car, which is the main concern that people had. So first, let's talk about the cost. Now, we're going to start with the 70 kilowatt version of the car, which has a base cost of $70,000. Now, keep in mind when I'm talking about this, the Model S is still considered a luxury car, so keep that in mind when we're talking about these numbers. But even for a luxury car, this $70,000 seems a bit high, and it is, but let's dig a little bit deeper into it. Currently in the United States, for buying an all-electric car, you get an instant $7,500 in federal income tax credit. Additionally, currently 14 states offer additional incentives with more likely to follow. So since we're here in Pennsylvania, we'll use them for our example, which is another $2,000 off, this time in the form of a rebate. And the last one is our big kicker here. In their research, Tesla Motors has found that you will save an estimated $10,000 over the first 5 years of owning a Model S by not having to pay for gasoline. Now, I know what a lot of you are probably thinking, I'm not paying for gas, that's pretty awesome, but I still have to pay for electricity. That's not free. And you are correct, electricity is in fact not free. But the way they reached this number was they found the average amount of miles that a person drives in a year, which they found to be about 15,000 miles. They combined this with the average miles per gallon a car gets, which they found to be right about 20, and then the average cost of gasoline in the US, which ranges about $2.50 to $2.90. When you combine all this together, they found the average person is spending right about $2,500 on gas every year. Now, when you take into account that paying for the electricity for this car is over 4 times cheaper than paying for gasoline, over those 5 years, it adds up to this $10,000 amount we get. So you combine all this together, we're left with a cost of just $50,500, nearly a 30% deduction from the original base cost, which is pretty remarkable if you ask me. So next, we're going to talk about the performance of the car. Now, I want everyone here to just close your eyes for a second and picture the fastest, coolest car you can think of. All right, now flip open the hood of that car. What do you see? A massive engine block probably, right? Shooting off steam, exhaust, nice loud roar, shooting off lots of heat, all kind of fun stuff, right? All right, now open your eyes for me, but just keep that image in the back of your head. Now this is a shot of the underneath of the Model S, the rear-wheel drive model. Now it's kind of easy to understand people's concerns about performance when they think, all right, how can that massive engine block we're all thinking about possibly compare to this tiny electric motor, less than 1 foot in diameter, small enough to fit nearly completely underneath the car? How can that possibly compare? Well, where I understand where your concern is coming from, the opposite is in fact the truth. Performance is not hindered by this electric motor, but is actually increased by it. Consumer Reports, who does a study on all new cars that are released, gave this vehicle a score of 99 out of 100 and had a 0 to 60 time, which is a common acceleration test, of just 5.5 seconds. Additionally, the car was given a 5-star safety rating by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and was named 2013 Motor Trend's Car of the Year. Now, another question you might have is, how does the fact that it's electric have anything to do with the fact that it's safe? Which it actually has a huge impact. Since the motor is underneath the car and there's no engine block in the front, as we said earlier, this turns the front of the car as well as the back of the car, which is just your regular trunk, into what's called a crumple zone. Now, I apologize for making anybody think of their physics class, but a crumple zone basically means that it's going to absorb a lot of the force of that impact rather than the passengers inside the vehicle, and essentially make the car a lot safer for everyone traveling inside of it. So next, let's talk about that main concern people had, which was the range. In a survey done by plugincars.com, they asked people, what number would the range of a car have to hit for you to consider it acceptable? What's the magic number of miles it has to be able to drive on a single charge for you to buy it? And they found that most of the responses ranged anywhere from 100 to 200 miles, with the average being right in the middle of about 150 miles. So here on the map, we have displayed the driving range of 150 miles from our home here, right in Happy Valley. As you can see, you can get just up to Scranton, a little bit into southern New York, we're just past Pittsburgh, a little bit into West Virginia. Pretty good range, you can reach a lot of places, and this is 150 miles. Now currently, the minimum range offered by the Model S is 230 miles, displayed in green here. You can see now we're way past Buffalo, we're easily past Pittsburgh, getting into Ohio, we're into West Virginia now, way beyond that 150-mile range that people wanted. And even additionally, Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla Motors, predicts that this range is going to increase from about 5 to 10% every single year as they continue to innovate their battery technologies. So now we have the single charge time. Let's talk about the next thing you might think of, which is charging the car itself. So currently, if you're using a standard 120-volt outlet, which is just the regular outlet you'll find in your house, you'll get about 5 miles of driving for every hour that the car is plugged in. Now, you can easily upgrade this by adding a 240-volt outlet, which is what you would find using for your washing machine, dryer, oven, that kind of thing. But for this example, we'll say you're just using a standard outlet. Now, this 5 miles per every hour of charging means it's going to run you just over 50 hours to charge the car from completely dead to completely full. Now, 50 hours sounds like a really long time, but just like we did with the cost, we can dig a little bit deeper into this. According to a study by the Union of Concerned Scientists, they found that 69% of drivers in the United States drive less than 60 miles daily, with 54% driving less than 40 miles in a day. What this means is that for your average driver, by the time you get home for the day, done with work, done with your errands, you plug your car in overnight, by the time you leave for work in the morning, your car is going to be completely charged up and ready to go by the time you leave for work in the morning. So the last thing about range we can talk about is, can we scale it up? I know that when I go to work and back to my house, I can charge this in my home, but what if I want to take it on a road trip, a business trip, a family vacation? Is that a possibility? And the answer is yes, and the way they're doing this is by using what they call supercharging stations. Now, what a supercharging station is a station that can charge your car from dead to about 170 miles of driving range in just under half an hour. Now you can see these supercharging stations displayed in red up on the map here. They currently have them all over popular travel routes as long as popular travel destinations in the country. Additionally, you'll see in gray what they call destination chargers. Now what these are is where Tesla has partnered with major hotel chains, restaurants, and other companies of that sort, so that, for example, you check into your hotel for the night, you can plug your car in, you come to leave in the morning, your car is charged up, ready for you to go, continue on your trip or vacation. Pretty awesome. Even cooler, if you're a Tesla owner, all these charging stations are completely free of charge and free for you to use. So, in quick summary today, first off we talked about how Tesla is getting around the cost of the car through the use of both government incentives as well as taking advantage of not having to pay for gasoline. Next, we talked about the performance of the car and how they're making sure it's up to par and even often exceeds that of your traditional internal combustion engine vehicle. And lastly, we talked about the range of the car. Now, through innovating battery technologies as well as supercharging stations, they're making sure you can drive as far as possible with as much ease as possible. So hopefully, by alleviating all three of these concerns, Tesla Motors is able to gain a much larger audience for electric vehicles. Thank you.